yourself that you have that desire. You have that desire for God to hold off just a little longer so that others will come to Him and so that even you can make sure, God, I want to know that I'm definitely ready to go. And yet, there is that piece of you that says, oh God, I'm just about ready. I'm tired, Lord. I'm ready, Lord. I want to see you, God, because I know there's peace when I come to you. Amen. See, we have a peace here, but when we see Him, when we are in His presence forever, it is going to be a peace like we have never known. Amen?
Amen.
But let's see what Paul had to say about that desire. In Philippians 1, the 20th through the 24th verse. According to my earnest expectation and my hope, that in nothing I shall be ashamed, but that with all boldness, as always, so now also Christ shall be magnified in my body, whether it be by life or death. For to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. But if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor, yet what I shall choose I wot not. For I am estrait betwixt two, having a desire to depart, and to be with Christ, which is far better. Nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is more needful for you.
Amen.
He said, for me to live is Christ. In so many words, it's His will for me to remain here. For me to die, well, that's my will. That's because I gain, because I see Him. And yet, he said that he had a desire. You know, we read here, it says, for I am estrait betwixt two, having a desire to depart and to be with Christ, which is far better. See, he already knew. How many of us would agree that you would not want to be in this world right now if you did not have Jesus Christ in your life?
Right.
See, he knew that even through all the bad, Brother Curtis, he still had something greater in this life than many others did. He still had the hope. But he said, but you know, but to be with Christ would even be better.
Yes.
But he said, nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is more needful for you. You know, I've known people that have fought spiritually. I have many mentors in my life that have gone on with the Lord now, that I would see them fight, even when it would have been easier to give up, because they said, maybe I can still make a difference. And so, at that point in their life, they said, okay, God, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, Lord, I know I'm going to fight with everything I've got because you've still got more for me to do. I want you to know God's got more for you to do tonight if you're here. God knows our desire to be with Him, but He also knows the need for us to still reach a world that needs to know who Jesus Christ is before He comes. Amen? And most of all, I have to tell you, it may sound selfish, but tonight we better make sure that we know exactly where we stand before He comes. Because a lot of people try to predict. A lot of people say, well, this isn't happening, or this has happened, and all of this. But I want to tell you, at the end of the day, it still comes down to, He said He was going to come as a thief in the night. He said He was going to come basically when you and I are not expecting it. And you know, my greatest fear is that when people are sitting back and they're saying, well, this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening, and yes, I definitely do believe these are the signs coming to the Lord, but what I'm saying is, many people will say, oh, but I don't think the Lord is going to come quite yet. ever say that. Because that is where the Lord so impressed me about a month ago that there's going to be people that are going to say, I don't think God's going to come quite yet. And it's going to be when somebody's thinking that way, that God's going to come. And because they thought they had a little more time. Excuse me. Dry throat, excuse me. I've been taking sinus pills so I wouldn't be draining. And instead, it makes me dry. But anyhow, I want you to know tonight that God is there for us and He doesn't want us to stop.
Amen.
I know that it may seem like a lot of the messages coming forth out of this pulpit, and I'm sure many others, are related to our being ready for the coming of the Lord. But even over the last couple of years, I began to think about some of the messages that the Lord has given me, and I believe Brother Purvis too, that has let us know. What were we going to do when there is no one there anymore? When your elders are not here anymore, and it's up to you. I thought, Sister Teresa, I was just thinking the other day, I was telling someone, I said, you know, there are times that during this time I've thought, man, I wish my grandpa, I wish my grandma, I wish my mom, I wish my dad was around just long enough so I could sit down and say, what would you do during all this? But guess what? They left. They imparted to me what I needed to know. Now it's for me to take what God has given me and apply it to the life that I serve for Jesus Christ. Amen? Because now the weight falls on my shoulders. The weight falls on your shoulders to say, God, I have a duty before you to do what you want me to do. I want to go, you know, there's times, though, that we need the strength of one another. And a very good and prime example of that is Exodus 17, 11 through 12. Moses had told Joshua, go fight Amalek. And I'm going to stand up here and I will hold my rod while you're down there fighting. And here's what happened. And it came to pass when Moses held up his hand that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands were heavy. And they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the one side and the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. Even though God had used Moses, the defeat over Amalek happened because Aaron and Hur were willing to hold up his arms. But guess what? It also took Moses being willing to allow them to help him. Amen? There's something that sometimes we need to learn as children of God. And that is that we, especially on spiritual matters, more than any other thing, we need to sometimes put our pride aside